Now, at this point in time, you say, well, what if I wanted these to be boards? Uh, I do want to show you something with Maya Node. Since we have our node editor open, you can combine certain nodes. Um, so you notice that going to our color, we have this fractal. Well, I'm going to go and create a new node, and this is a multiply divide node. I'm just going to click it, and it should show up somewhere in my, here it is over here. And multiply divide will allow me to start making connections. I can combine some of these textures. So if I have a fractal, and suppose I also created a grid. Okay, let's find that grid. Where are you, grid? Is that the grid over here? Okay. Okay, let's give us some more room. So we have a grid here, and if I take this grid, its out color into the color channel, you can kind of see what it's doing. Well, suppose I want lines going the length of the table, but I want the lines black and everything else white. So I can make my line color black and my fill color white. And actually, I don't even want them black. I want it kind of a dark brown. Okay, done. And then all I need to do is make those lines thinner, and then go into my place 2D texture node and say, hey, I want you to repeat in U about, I don't know, 8 times. That gives you the planks, and I don't want you to repeat it all in the V. Well, maybe I'll need one repeat. Let's try 0.5. It doesn't like 0 repeat. I was hoping just to create these single bands here. Let's try 0.2. So one way something I can do to get around this, my V width, I can take that down to nothing. Maybe that's what I need to do instead. So now I have these lines that would represent the boards, and let me go with 10. They still look kind of wide to me, or maybe even 15, or somewhere in between that. Alright, and what I would like to do is kind of multiply these lines over my fractal. So this kind of outlines the boards for me. And this is my wood texture. Okay. So what if I took this here and I fed this out R into the input 1. What does it say? It can't be connected to, so maybe I have to do the full color. The out color to input 1, and I took the out color of the grid and went to input 2, and then it multiplies those two together. And then what if then I took that output X and went to the bump? And now if we render, now we see that we're getting this line here, but it looks like that line is facing up instead of down. So, and I think that's because I have a -1. So if I did a 0.1 value here, and you can start seeing those grooves. Now there is no color to go with that. It's just affecting the bump, and I could make that deeper. I just wanted to show you kind of some things you could do. You could even pump this also into your color, and you can kind of see some interesting things you do. And I combined the fractal with the grid using a multiply divide node. I pumped its out color into input 1 and the out color into input 2, and that combined those using, if you're familiar with blend modes in Photoshop or GIMP, use that same kind of deal, and then I'm outputting that to the color and also to the bump node. I'm going to stop this tutorial now. I've covered a lot, and but just showing you some things that you can think about using procedural textures. Procedural meaning that these are Maya derived. These are not images I'm creating in Photoshop bringing in, but these are things that that have attributes I can tweak. If you can use procedural texturing in Maya, that's the best because it saves resources. A lot more drain on the system when you start bringing in images and it's reading pixels. But if it can create those through algorithms procedurally, you can get a lot better performance in your render times and such.